Check in with my colleague Mike Seidel, who's in Rockford. Some of the totals there have been bigger already. Mike, what are you getting right now?
It's all snow here, and it's going to stay snow. We're far enough away from the warmer air in Chicago. We're about 75, 80 miles from the lakefront northwest. 33 right now, so just above freezing. And you can see the road situation, a sloppy, slushy mess. And it's snowing at a pretty good clip. So with that in mind, even though the temperature's at 33, the salt is not going to keep up with it. We do have daylight, but things are going to go downhill. Certainly after sunset, and temperatures go down to 32 or below. We're looking for about a half a foot of snow here. Areas to west of us, Des Moines had 8, 9 inches out around the Quad Cities where Jim was earlier. He'll be back later. They've had upwards of 3, 3.5 inches. O'Hare is doing pretty good right now. They've had about 100 cancellations. That's about 4 to 5% of their total flight operations in and out, because right now, last check, rain and sleet at O'Hare in 35. They did report an inch of slop this morning. So flying in and out of O'Hare right now is in decent shape. There's a couple hundred delays, but no ground delay program. We're going to be out here showing this to you. The one change we're going to have between now and dinner time, the wind is going to pick up. We could get gusts out here 30 to 40 miles an hour, so there will be a little blowing and drifting. Continuing coverage on Winter Storm Finn continues as we go through the afternoon and evening. Stay with us.
Now, meteorologist Mike Seidel is live right now in Rockford, Illinois, home of the Rockford Ice Hogs minor league hockey team. Mike Seidel, tell us how the roads are looking right now.
Well, I can tell you we have an advantage versus those scenes we've shown you from Kansas and Nebraska because it is warmer. It's 33. We don't have temperatures in the mid-20s. We don't have that wind yet, but the wind is going to pick up through the afternoon and evening, gusts 30 to 40 miles an hour. If you're clearing your car today, this is so easy. It's like slop. Look at this. It's like butter, so it comes right off, and, you know, obviously it's good packing snow at 33, a lot of water. I don't think it's wet enough to squeeze water out of it. No, it's not quite that wet. But you can see the parking lot, very slushy. Now, this is going to freeze up later on tonight, but I think it's going to be at least midnight before we really get down below 30 into the upper 20s. But keep that in mind. Scrape and shovel before you go to bed. By the way, these are not snow sticks, utility flags. I was making a joke earlier because we were in Massachusetts and the flags, the snow sticks are up about this high. Let's walk out to the roadway. This is State Street, just off Interstate 90, the main roadway that goes from Chicago all the way out, well, all the way to the West Coast. Look out in Portland and Seattle. Boy, you're going to get walloped too with the next storm. Traffic is moving fairly steadily. You can see the slush on the road with daylight and temperatures at 33. It's going to stay this way because of the snow rate. And we're looking for 5 or 6 inches here before this wraps up later on this evening. And then the other big story, another storm Friday. Looks like a 3 to 4 incher this far out, this far west. But then temperatures really get cold, dangerously cold. Highs here in Rockford by early next week will not get above 0. So the first Arctic outbreak of the season on the way in. Get ready for that. Get your layers out.
But there's also the snowy side, and that's why I want to take you to Rockford, Illinois, where we find our very own Mike Seidel. And Mike, give us the lay of the land here. A lot going on here for Illinois today.
Yes, indeed. Wide open out here off I-90. We're about an hour and change on a good day northwest of O'Hare. Speaking of O'Hare, they haven't had a ground stop. There's no ground delay program. That's good because most of what they've had this morning has been sleet and rain and not snowfall. So that's good for flying. Still, they've had 98 cancellations. That's only 5% of their flights going in and out today, and about 300 delays. That's about 15%. So delay is likely, a cancellation right now unlikely, and they're going to stay in this kind of cold rain situation. Here in Rockford, we're at 33, so we're about 3 degrees colder. The wind, northwest, this is going to be picking up through the afternoon and evening. Right now, we're gusting over 20 miles an hour. We've got a plow over there. That's what they've been doing all morning out here, plowing this slushy mess. You can see the roadway is slushy over there at Wendy's doing the job. It's not too bad because we've only had a couple of inches of snow. Temperatures today are going to be flirting with freezing, so it's going to be slushy. Then once the sun goes down, we'll see a slow drop-off, but it's not going to get down to, say, 29 or 30, probably until after midnight. It's not going to be like we had in Massachusetts on Sunday, where we had like a flash freeze. So another 4 to 5 inches here, and then those winds will pick up this afternoon and tonight. They'll back off tomorrow, cloudy skies, but heads up. Another storm comes in here as we get into Thursday night and Friday, and then the temperatures Saturday and early next week, the coldest we've seen this season. Below zero here, even for a high early next week in Rockford. We've got wind here, Dr. Nab, but boy, they got a lot of wind all the way up the eastern seaboard. You got the latest on that and the impacts.
Yeah, Mike, this is such a large and powerful cyclone that its tentacles are extending so far from where you're standing. But take us through, just briefly, Mike, what it's like when the visibility is so low. Is it changing? Is it going up and down, or is it consistently bad?
Well, it's going up and down. Right now, officially at the airport, 3/4 of a mile, which is S- or light snow. You've got to get down between 3/8 and 5/8 for moderate, and then generally heavy snow. You see 1/4 on the 1/4 S plus heavy snow. So right now, if we zoom in, yeah, we're down about a mile to 3/4 of a mile. So this is light snow. Even though it may look heavier on camera, Dr. Nab, it especially has that impact at night when we have TV lights on. But this is the heaviest snow we've seen so far. This is about 1 inch an hour. But again, it's very slushy and wet. It's adding up. And we've got the plow right here, another plow, trying to keep ahead of this. Again, much like in Massachusetts, Dr. Nab, even though we won't have a rapid drop in temperatures tonight, the best bet this evening, if you can, is to plow, scrape, and get it off the sidewalks and driveways so you won't have to get out tomorrow morning and deal with a sheet of ice.
Mike Seidel in Rockford, Illinois. So our Mike Seidel, who is in Rockford, Illinois, is going to be able to show us how wind is such a big component of this. And Mike, I wonder how much the visibility will, change. Even if the snowfall rates go down later tonight, the winds will probably be picking up.
Yes, indeed. The storm is south of us, south of Peoria. Last time I checked, it was about 968 millibars. It may be a little bit lower now, but it's all cranked up. Just a big vortex impacting a huge part of the country. And the wind will gradually increase. We could get gusts here about 40 miles an hour, maybe some 45-mile-an-hour gusts. We're not going to get 50 or 60 and some of the wind we saw out in the plains yesterday. One reason we're going to be in a little bit better shape is the snow is wet and slushy. It's not powdery. In fact, I always notice under plants and trees, like here, look under the tree here on the asphalt. Now we're getting some insulation from the sun today, but look at this. It's kind of slushy. You can actually see the asphalt. Look out here in the wide open. And keep in mind, this parking lot has not been treated, but it's snow-packed and snow-covered. They continue to plow over here at the Olive Garden, but you can see in just a half an hour, it's now covered up again. So the snowfall rate is running about a ½ inch, at times 1 inch an hour if we get a heavier burst. Our visibility right now has picked up once again. It's about a mile looking down the highway. And speaking of State Street, this is the road that goes right out to I-90, which is that interstate from Chicago to Minneapolis and all the way out to the West Coast. Slushy, snow-covered, and this is what we're going to see all afternoon. 33 right now. The temperature is really not going to change. It's going to stay right there, I think, at 33, right on through this evening. And then later tonight, we'll see it drop down very slowly. Tomorrow morning, we're looking at lows in the upper 20s. By the way, schools closed today. And by the look of it, a lot of other businesses and restaurants have decided not to open today, just to be on the safe side. Although for the Midwest, this is not going to be certainly a record-setting event. Rockford's had about 6 inches of snow this season. They're running about 50% of their average snowfall to date. But Dr. Nab, the other story is the next storm, but then the cold air coming in here, just biting cold. By Monday here, high temperatures may not even get to zero. I'm talking 0 Fahrenheit, not 0 Celsius. So really cold air coming in, and that will be a player in the storm. Early next week, we'll see how far south we're talking about ice and snow. For instance, Little Rock, Nashville, and points in those areas.
Yeah, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Winter Storm Jerry coming across. So same part of the country you're in could be getting some another bout of snow.
There is an entire other side of Winter Storm, Finn, and that's the winter side, the snowy side. So want to show you what it's like, the ground truth. Want to bring in our very own Mike Seidel. He's in Rockford, Illinois. Mike, paint the picture for us here and give us what's going on there in Illinois, because there's so much severe weather, but the snowy side is also very dangerous.
Yes, certainly not the kind of danger you have with a risk of a tornado, but certainly on the roadways. Now, what we have here is status quo. It's still 33 degrees. It's been there all morning and now early afternoon. Still snowing, light to moderate. We've got several inches on the ground. We don't expect temperatures to just drop rapidly after sunset like we saw Sunday in Massachusetts. No, it won't get down to freezing probably until late this evening, maybe not till midnight. So we're going to have the slush around for a while. This is State Street. This is the main highway from downtown Rockford all the way out to I-90, and I-90 takes you to Minneapolis, to the West Coast, and all the way back to Chicago and the points east. That is in pretty good shape based on the Illinois DOT map. Nothing significant. But out here, we've, a little slush out here on the roadways. They've salted. They plow continuously. And the wind now is gusting about 20 miles an hour. That's going to be the change in the next 4 to 5 hours. We'll notice the wind picking up, gusting 30, maybe 40 miles an hour. But since it is a very heavy, gloppy snow, the drifting capability is much lower. If this was the powdery snow, the stuff we saw in that video from the western plains of Kansas and Nebraska, we'd be in a whole different shape in these open areas here in north central Illinois. But it's very heavy and packable. O'Hare now 36 degrees. They've gone up a degree, a mix of rain and snow. Officially this morning they had an inch, but that's all been washed away. So most of Metro Chicago is in pretty good shape as far as the roads go. Midway is at 37. So in very good shape. Now, eventually, they'll get down below freezing after midnight tonight. We have another storm on the way. This is going to be a bigger one for Chicago, Colleen. And then after that, we all go into the deep freeze with temperatures dropping below zero. In fact, highs here on Monday in Rockford may not even get to zero. So it's coming right from Saskatchewan and the Northwest Territories. But before that, this one and the next one, and then the Arctic blast. Colleen?
I'm not ready for it, Mike. Oh, the cold is coming. I got to say, because you have that snowball, I saw Reynolds pitch his snowball yesterday. Show us the best you got.
Where do you want me to hit? The Olive Garden sign? No, maybe not. Okay, maybe not. Here we go. Wait a minute, we're not done yet. We're not done yet. Sorry about that. I'll try to hit this pole. How about that? Here's a strike zone.
Oh, yeah, that was a good shot.
On the pole right there. Yeah.
It's a nice slushy snow.
Yes, very slushy. It's got a lot of water content in it. This is not a 10-to-1. This is probably more like, I don't know, 6 or 7 to 1. As far as the, 1 inch of liquid equals 10 inches of snow.
Well, thanks so much, Mike. You're showing us the real time of the snowy side of Winter Storm Finn.
As Winter Storm Finn's low pressure system strengthens, our Mike Seidel's in Rockford, Illinois. Mike, you've been talking about how the snowfall is a heavy, wet snow. What are the ramifications of that with regard to how it affects the roads?
Well, I can tell you one thing. It's easy to clean off the car, Dr. Nab, but you spend so much time in the warm climes. Look at this. So it's really easy just to wipe it off the car. The roads, well, this is what happens when it's not plowed and not salted. It's snowpacked and snowy. There's the giant plow over there at the mall, and they're trying to keep up with the snowfall rate. Right now, this is about almost an inch an hour. This is about as hard as it snowed so far this morning and this afternoon. We're going to pan around, and Gary will show State Street, the main highway, 4-lane highway from downtown out to I-90. And once again, it's slushy and snowy, but the saving grace right now is daylight, and the temperature right now is 33 degrees. Back in Chicago, temperatures are safely above freezing. That's helping out at O'Hare. They've had over 300 delays, but so far about 100 cancellations is only about 5% of their schedule. Colleen, it's going to snow through this evening. Another storm Friday and bitter cold coming in late weekend.
Yes, gosh, Mike, so much more just in the pipeline. Of course, we have the snowy side. Winter Storm Finn cranking out heavy snow across the Midwest. Northern Illinois is one of the areas in the thick of it today. And that's where we find our very own Mike Seidel in Rockford, Illinois. And Mike, what is the biggest impacts you've seen so far as the snow has been falling?
Well, right now we can see what's going on. We've got the plow out here on State Street taking care of the snow very nicely, so that's the impact. The roadways, yes, it is 33 degrees. Yes, a lot of slush, but as long as they can get a lot of that slush off the roadway, you can get around. And there's a lot of traffic out here. We're just off I-90, so, it's not slowing people down too much. I can say the restaurant where we are and some other businesses are closed. School is closed, so that's all a good call. snowfall. As far as tomorrow morning, the snow will be long over with. We'll see if they run a delay here in the Rockford area. 33 here. O'Hare has now gone back to snow. Midway has been raining in 37, so it's a mishmash in Chicagoland. Eventually, everybody goes to snow. The saving grace here is we're not going to have a flash freeze in the Chicagoland area out here in north central Illinois. Temperatures tonight are going to be very slow to drop off. There's really no cold air behind this. That's coming in Saturday and Sunday. But the snow ends. We'll get about 6 inches. We've got 3 to 4 right now. It settles because it's a heavy, wet snow. O'Hare has had about 110 flight cancellations. That's about 5%. So about 1 in 20 flights at O'Hare has been canceled. As far as delays, over 400 now, 425. So the odds of being delayed right now, 15 to 20%. Those are the odds for that. Let's spin around here, make the life for Gary a little bit easier, keep the lens clean, and we'll keep looking down State Street. The other issue, too, is not only the wet snowfall, but the fact that eventually, yes, late tonight, early tomorrow morning, we will get down to 28 or 29 degrees, and all of this will freeze up. This is what you're looking at on streets that are not plowed or scraped. You got a slushy mess where there has been some road traffic. So a big storm here, another one coming in Thursday night and Friday. That's going to be bigger for Chicago, and it's going to be all snow. We may see 6 or more inches in Chicago, Colleen, and then that's it for the temperatures, just like this. If you do the graph like this, highs and lows in Rockford early next week will stay below 0. We're looking for temperatures out here in the morning, 10, maybe 15 below 0. So very cold air coming in after we get through the storm on Friday into Saturday morning.
Gosh, Mike, we were just climbing up that roller coaster hill, and when we hit the top, we are going to nosedive down, and it is going to be an Arctic blast right. For sure. So I guess we can at least put our hands up. I don't know if anyone's going to enjoy it. I certainly.
What? Go ahead. Say that again.
I was saying I'm certainly not going to enjoy it, but I know some people like it cold.
Well, you know, it doesn't have to be 10 degrees to snow, as you can see here, 33. You know, 80% of major snowstorms occur between about 24 and 32 degrees statistically. So when you get the biggest snowstorms, it tends not to be 5 or 10. I've been in some of those, but the difference between a wind chill today of, say, 20, 22, and a wind chill Sunday of, say, 25 or 30 below 0, that's a big difference. You really got to protect the exposed areas. Today, you know, I don't even have my toboggan on. That's because it is a relatively balmy 33 degrees.
Yeah, well, considering sub-zero temperatures is kind of balmy, 33. Thank you so much, Mike Seidel, live in Rockford, Illinois.
And on the cold side, in the snow, is our Mike Seidel live in Rockford, Illinois. Mike, have things been trending better or worse the last hour or two?
Slightly worse, Dr. Nab. It's snowing harder. We're officially, last check at Rockford Airport, half-mile moderate snow, half-mile visibility. So it's still coming down, still 33 degrees. So with that in mind, it's a great day to make a snowman. And look at this. Look how easy you can just roll a snowball and a snowman because of the moisture content. Just push down and you get the idea that there's a lot of water content in that snowball or that rectangular plot of snow. Anyway, that's the situation here. It will get better late tonight. And then we have another storm Friday and Arctic air coming in. Below 0 cold by later in the weekend here in north central Chicago.